So it's interesting. A year later, in the same month, the third indictment comes down. So I had this dream in August last year. A year later, in the same month, this indictment comes down. In this dream, I was in some type of high end office, okay, building. Down the hall was Donald Trump in an office working. The Lord allowed me to see in the door uh, that he was there. I was then brought back, okay, back away from that office. Someone approached me and handed me a plate hastily. They hastily handed me the plate and left. That had filet mignon, mashed potatoes, rich gravy, very rich, heavy food. The plate was heavy, the plate was full. I was told to bring this down the hall to Donald Trump. Suddenly, a chef appears in a pure white chef's coat. The chef is a representation of the Lord in this dream and tells me this is not what he needs. Looks at my plate, points at that rich, heavy plate of food. This is not what he needs. And the plate of food is taken from me. Then a much smaller portion on a white plate that had rice on it with what looked to be pot roast over it with some gravy was placed in my hands. And I was told, this is what he needs. Now go bring it to him. And I said, you want me to bring this to him? Yes, was the answer. And I began to walk down the hall towards him. The first dish, the heavy, rich plate of food, the delicate dainties, and all the things being offered, and all the things being offered to him on this plate. And it was all those very expensive, tasty, delicate dainties. But he had a full plate, and he had a full plate in his life. And it was a full, heavy plate, and it was not what he needed in that moment. Nothing on that plate at that moment could help him. This is why the chef said, who represented the Lord, this is not what he needs right now. He doesn't need the richness. He doesn't need, the overwhelming, richness and grandeur, and excess. This is not what he needs right now. What he needs, this is what the chef was talking about with this other plate of food. It was a plate of comfort food. It was a small portion of comfort food. It was also something you might see, served in more humble places where people go. And so what he needs is comfort, prayer, ministering to him in such a way that he can relate. There is a lot being served that is not helping him, that will not help him, that he cannot relate to. This is not about this dish of very wealthy, rich food. Cannot help him. That cannot help him right now. That humble plate of food, a very humble plate of food, I was told is what he needs. And that has to do with the man bending over, remember, and humbling himself completely and fully before Almighty God, because it is Almighty God that is the ever present help in the times of trouble, not the wealth, not the excess, not the richness, none of that can help in a time of trouble like this. It is Almighty God who is the ever present help in times of trouble, who opened the prison doors for Joseph.